Hello there and welcome back to episode 8 of my tutorial series for Factorio. So today we're going to bring war to the biters and we're going to add the railway into our production chain. I will do a lot of different things in between as usual, and let's get right into it. So, railways. We have discovered the technology for that a while ago, and basically we got ourselves locomotives, train stops, and rails. So, currently we're not really suited for producing huge railway things. Therefore, we're going to keep our endeavors in that regard quite low. But there is one thing that I want to do, and that is the mass production of rails. I want to get started with this topic as quick as I can, as this is really something that well, how to put it, you can't start early enough using trains, basically. Wherever it is a feasible option, it will become super valuable. Therefore, we want to use it as quick as we can. Also, I am dead tired of being unable to make splitters, so or dead tired of making splitters manually. So I felt like let's give the purple inserter finally a show. He is that one guy in our assortment of inserters that hasn't had a chance to shine yet, so let's do that. Our defenses, meanwhile, are brilliant. We're just going to add in a new gun turret wherever needed. So, the other thing that I want to do, just as a thing ahead, we're going to kill off the biters up here today, because I want to do some exploration, because obviously we have found enormous amounts of iron, but there is no copper inside anywhere, so let's go north and see what we can do there. Alright, but let's do some fun. So we're going to go and utilize a filter inserter for the very first time. So if we'd be using a regular inserter, it'd just pick up gear wheels and circuits, but I don't want that. So instead, I'm whitelisting now only the electronic circuits, and now I can wire this little buddy up. And now this thing will grab only electronic circuits and transport them elsewhere. This is a massive benefit. You can use this for all manner of different occasions. I'm going to show you another one in a hot minute. But let me first pipe that stuff upwards, as it is really time for our industries here to get going. Alright, so you see, a bit of damage was done. That's always a clear sign that we need to gear up. But it is also for you quite clearly perceivable that we're working against time here. Oh no, I built this all too narrow. Oh sheesh. That is uncool. No. Well, we can upgrade it like that, and the rest I'll fix this at another occasion. It's one of those super annoying moments when all you need to do is something like that. Yeah, let's do this like this. And now I'm fixing it immediately again. Gee, yeah. Well, whatever. So, just so you can see how easily you can fix little problems on the fly. That's the wonderful thing about Factorio for me personally. Since you can't pick up everything again and rebuild your stuff relatively fast, I think it's a really good game to have improvised builds with. All right, so we're going to plug in. Let's see this stuff over here. So at this factory, I am still full on improvisation mode because I feel like it is absolutely okay to do so. So we're going to do one thing though. We're now utilizing a red inserter to do some other black magic. So we're dropping these bad boys on the belt now. So it'll be a pretty easy way for us to build that thing. Be creative with your belts. It's really pretty cool. And especially the sites where I manufacture things, many players refer to this as their mall. I feel like this is absolutely the place where it's even almost a requirement to be experimental and to try out things, whether they work and how they work and whatnot. My personal verdict, at least. So we got this now on the belt, which is just perfectly fine. We won't be needing more for the time being. So by the way, this entire complex here, we're going to utilize this for a longer period of time, of course. So we'll expand on it, and we'll build our actual factory somewhere down here, I think. Eventually, my plan is to rip out pretty much everything we see up here and replace it just with big smelting areas. And then we're going to relocate all the manufacturing stuff to downstairs. That's a rough plan. It is worth having a rough plan, because having no plan makes you just build like an idiot and don't think about it. What the problem about that is the specification of your factory increases by just building intuitively by magnitudes. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but basically if you want tidy builds, that's it's good to try to look ahead of what you're doing. Okay, enough about that. Let's quickly build those rails. So we merely need to pipe off some of the stone here, and we obviously need to pick up some extra build. This facility here, by the way, is still not producing enough iron, and this is the main reason why I am not producing any military science packs inside here. We have all the necessary ingredients, but our material throughput on the factory is so gosh darn low, we would only maintain a very unsatisfying amount of military science pack production, and I don't want that. Alright, so we keep researching here now the things that we need for the rails. So, railways are one of those nasty recipes that require stone. That's a relatively rare thing that recipes require stone, but it is what it is. Luckily we have, oh well, we have the iron stuff back there. So it's one of those steel, iron, stone recipes where I really feel like it is always I am always struggling with this spot to fit this recipe in, okay? This is always the same. Because it's I personally think this is on purpose to make the recipe a little bit more clunky and harder to access. But we can do some nice thing here. Since I want iron and stone on the same belt to make things easier, I just figured we're going to make it like that. Remember the good old trick there? So we're going to do this. Like that. And now we just need to connect them. Rotate. We said rotate. And then we got it. So this must now go down here, and this will alleviate a lot of the pain that we just had a second ago, because now I have the necessary raw ingredient for the process already here, and now I can easily build something like that here. Boom. Just like that. There's a bit of stone still on the build. Before it starts mixing properly, I walk over it and hold F to get that stuff out. And now we make the iron sticks over here. We take the steel from down there, and now we have everything there is required. So, picking up a couple of blue inserters. Shift left click, by the way, to pick up a stack of 50 and not the entire box, because I want to use fast inserters here. Fast inserters do require a little bit more power, but they absolutely make sure that you have enough pickup speed for all of your needs. Okay, so here I am going to plant down a chest that I'll barely even want it. Heck, we don't even want it. Why? Because rails, you see, rails are typically something where you need a really long connection of. Well, maybe we're doing it. let's do it like that. So rails you really need a lot of. If you need them, you need a lot of them. Now I want to see. Here, there was somebody had managed to gnaw on our walls. Alright, so now we got that managed. For me, that was very, very important to get that sorted, because now, while we're conquering the rest of the world, something useful is happening inside of the base. Personally, it is very important for me always to make sure that my time spent outside is spent with something good inside the factory. So we're going to drop down a couple of extra gun turrets here. And by now, it is really just setting up a gun turret and then an inserter. And the rest is just going to be fed by the belt, which is really, really excellent. The downside of this rail production here, I just realized, is that we require a ton of iron. So since we are that short on iron, I'm going down on this. So let's see. Here we have lost 3 of our mining machines. I realized that the iron amount grew thinner. And usually when you have the impression that you are producing less of something than you usually do, most of the time you might be right. So check back with your mining patch now and then and set up new mining machines. As here clearly, yep, that was a shortage of ore. And while we're at it, let's make sure that the ore is not going to be any issue whatsoever for the time being. Like I said, keep your factory inside working while you're working outside. So we're adding in 3 more mining machines to the mix. Now let's check back. Our power is good. We're looking good. Bam! They're killing stuff. Nice. Alright. Rail signals have been finished, and now we have all the necessary tools available to make a full rail network. We're not going to get that far just like that, but it is good to have these things in advance. So the next thing I'll be working on is the explosives technology. This does open up weapons techs, but most importantly, this is the path down to cliff explosives. And cliffs are really one nasty boss in the game. Alrighty. So, before we continue, we gotta make sure that we have a few things in our pocket. So, a bit of coal. I'm going to use 1 burner inserter for a change this time. And I want to make sure that I have enough gun turrets. I'm just picking up the stack and refilling what I got in my pocket, because I really don't need that much gun turret. And we then move over here and pick up some stuff, some extra magazines. As you can see here, it takes a darn long time to fill the belt. And we also will now produce some, or we also will pick up some grenades. So grenades are amazing. Can't put it into different words, they just are. They're among the best weapons in the game, and I really, really love them. So here we now see we're finally producing again more ore than we're consuming, so we're good to go outside. So, now on to the baddies. Oh, let's flee back to our friends here. Alright, so we're going to go and kill off these guys in a pretty classic way. Make sure that you save the game beforehand, especially if it's your first tussle with the bugs, because you'll clearly have a chance to die. By the way, dying is not that much of a big deal. All the stuff that you're carrying around will be underground, and you get to pick it back up after you killed everything. But you see, you need to kill everything. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up a wall of turrets, and then we're going to, we're doing the automation, and we can. That is one option. It's not the option, but you can do this like that. You're lazy in terms of refilling, so we're doing something like that. One option. It's not a really classic one, but it works quite nicely. And now we just drop half a war magazine in there, and now these guys get ammoed up, and we can now go back there. Of course, you can also load these guys manually, no problem. So here's a typical small biter nest. There's spawners, and these spawners spawn different types of biters. So we can hold down C, not C, spacebar. C is only necessary when you're killing off other things, your own structures. Spacebar, sorry. And then we can just run and gun, take down these guys. If we ever get overwhelmed, we can now fall back to our wall of gun turrets. This is until our first worm friend shows up. Alright. But yeah, this is quite easy. I set up my turrets way too far away. That's nonsense. But, yeah. Find this a quite fun thing to try, but actually it's not really efficient. Instead, you should just have a lot of magazines in your pocket and fill them in where needed. But, well, I just want to keep you guys motivated to stay creative, you see. Alright, so here we go. And we just place down these 3 guys. Now we can rely on these while we're running around here gunning these guys down. So back here we have our first worms. These are the real enemies there. So as you see there, they spit a pretty nasty projectile that also leaves a deadly puddle on the ground. And the problem about that is that, well, it's damage over time while you're standing in it, and they're also pretty good shooters, so they're really good at their aim. They always aim at where you are currently standing, so if you stay in motion, they can't get you. Also, there's fish. Raw fish can be eaten by your character, and you just have to left-click it on your character model. This is what you can use to heal yourself. If you know the hotkey for using them fishes, I don't. I'm sure there's one. Feel free to leave it in the comment section. I have to admit at this point, and some of you folks might have already guessed it, I'm not that much of a super experienced player killing off bugs in the regular way, because I usually use a mod that spawns my gun turrets already filled with ammo if I have it in the pocket. I'm kind of a cheaty one in that regard, but I want to show it off properly for tutorial's sakes, because you see, that's the way to do it. So, what this also did is that the attacks on the northern front will subside. As you see there, we could have fought these guys back a long while ago. But there is also one downside. For every biter nest that you kill, the enemy will reinforce itself more fierce, so to speak. So, the more biter nests we kill, the more aggression we produce on these bad boys. Obviously, they hate it when we kill their brethren. And if there are any details that you might want to share about the behavior of biters in general in this regard, enlighten me. I'd be very, very happy about that. Because, like I said, I don't have that much of a knowledge about it. Less than I would like to have. Alright, so we now have a radar panel in this corner of the world, and we're going to continue just further north, and we'll see whether or not we'll find the copper that we require up there. Alright, and just like that, our factory is honestly at the point where it needs to be. We're going to kill off another biter nest that is in our way in a hot minute, because, oh, dang it. Yeah, classic. So, I forgot to bring a radar panel, because there is another site here that definitely needs to go. We want that oil, and these bad boys here are totally in our way, so we need to get rid of them. Alright, so I'll quickly fast forward here this walking time. Be right back. And here we are, back in action with the actual gear. So, there we go. I just meant to bring down a little bit more radar coverage here. We keep them guarded like that, obviously. And that's that. So, now the time will tell whether or not we find what we need back there. There's also a couple of biter nests that might or might not get attracted by the radar panels. We'll see about that. Luckily, biters really rarely only attack energy poles because they go for pollution producers primarily. Okay, so tell you what we're going to do. We got a car, might as well use it, right? So we drop down some coal into it and then drive back home. So driving is pretty cool. You don't need to worry too much about destroying your car. And if you have trouble with terrain being cumbersome and all, you can always try and pave yourself some roads. It's not a biggie, so you can do that. Personally, I pick up the car now because we definitely need that thing way too much to where we're moving around in areas where we can't really dump it down necessarily, where we don't need to. Alright, so we're going to go and set up that stuff over here and go down that way. So just to make sure that the coal stuff, the new coal stuff that we pipe down here is going to be accessible. Every now and then I do find a miner that is depleted and it's really important that you keep replacing them. Alright, so checking back with the factory, everything's looking now a lot better. The only thing that is noticeable is that we have no iron left at the end of the day for the rest of the factory. That is kind of unnerving, but whatever. We also are running low on rad magazines, so that is because I told it to you in the previous episode. Our production of rad magazines is factually too low for what we are up to. But you see, sometimes you just you'll just have a casual waltz over your belt, and that's that. Since we just destroyed one of the biter nests that was pressuring us, we have a little bit of freedom here. So I want to take down what's down there, and I have the slight feeling that these will be much nastier than the stuff we've been dealing with before. Alright, in goes the coal, and this way we can now traverse the world much faster. It's just pretty annoying that these wood pole power lines, they're very narrow. You can easily bump your car into that. If you wanted to, you can also try to fight with the car, but I am not really a big fan of that, so save the game and show you how I die now. So the advantage of the car is that you need to put in magazines first. So that is why you save the game, to save yourself from your own idiocy. So good part about the car is that it's much faster than your character. So, as you can see there, it is quite devastating, but it is really hard to drive and shoot, and you are super vulnerable to the spitters, to the worms, in my personal opinion. And you see that gray bar there, that is the health bar of your car. There we go. But, I mean, this is also a way to resolve conflict. So we're going to go now over there, and I want to showcase another method of resolving conflict, but let's pick up the magazines out of a car first. So, this is one bigger nest. Let's save the game just in advance before something stupid happens again. So, when we're getting close on in, first of all, we are going to decide for a direction to attack from. I think I'm going to come from north. I want to take the direction that has the least obstructions, so I have an easy time getting into the enemy fray. So we're now going to pick up the magazines, pick up the biggest stack yet again, and try to get some spread into this whole mess. So 32 magazines are more than enough for myself, so now we're going to lob grenades for the first time. So grenades are weapons that allow you to stay much better mobile, but at the same time, you can't gun down the things that are biting you. So can now eat some fish, and holding down the spacebar. So there we go. So yeah, grenades are pretty awesome to take down structures while running and gunning. And that's another method that you can take for biter removal. And if you ever get overwhelmed, just fall back to the turrets that you have loaded. There we go. If you're using that crazy burner inserter method of mine, you can also just advance your turrets. And some engineers also love to go for the following approach. It'll require some ammo from your side. So you load a turret, and then you load the next turret, and then you load the next turret, or you do it like in a double line like that. Just like this. And then we remove these two turrets, and then we increase, and we go forward, then we go for 2 more turrets, and this is basically referred to as turret creep. It leads to a perpetual wall of progression, where we can always fall back and bolster our lines, because eventually the spawn rate of the nests in that you attack will be overwhelmed by the fire rate of your turrets. And then you can, this way, get the turrets also into the firing range to destroy the nests eventually for you. There's also stronger explosives tech, strongly recommended here to get some more bang for your buck, literally. Because, you know, you don't only want to use the grenades for biter nest clearing, they also have another wonderful multi-purpose usage, and that is tree removal. So trees are really going to get into your way when you just want to build somewhere. And it's pretty annoying to carve them away. And check out grenades. So you don't get the resources if you do like that. But in all honesty, wood is only necessary for small electric poles in the vanilla gameplay, and therefore you will not really notice any big deficiency out of that. So why was I so keen for this? Because I want to have radar coverage in this area here as well. And oh, there's another one that we need to still kill. And I also want to have a big time mining ops here. There will be most likely even oil digging or oil pumping happening here, so this entire area here must be under our control eventually. So it turns out I have... Ah, that's what happened here. Alright, so there's a mini addendum to this nest. So this is one of the scenarios where we just get the grenade on the cursor, and this is the pretty cool thing about the nades. They can be on your cursor while you can still access the gun. You see? You can still go for that, and something got destroyed. So, yeah, that's that one time when I didn't save the game. Isn't it ironic? So, one of our stations got eaten. Not a big surprise in all honesty, because I haven't had it defended well. So I just want to show you what happens if we don't save the game. You're completely naked. I don't like that, so we're going to go back to another autosave moment. Let's see. Ha! Just a moment, because before I was doing my tomfoolery. Wonderful. Sometimes autosave also can save the day. The game does save quite regularly, and therefore you easily can do that. So I'm going to clean out these last biters on this thing, or on this video, and then we're going to continue in the next episode with the real expansion process. I mean, we still haven't found copper, and you see that is one of the really, really nasty things in this game, that you always will be loathing for something. It's literally always like that. Some material is just always not coming on by. Be it stone, be it iron, be it whatever. It is happening so often. Here's one worm hiding between the trees. That I just want to say, it is nothing special when you're when you're not getting one material. So we're almost deado here. And just keep exploring. Just plant down more radar panels everywhere, and eventually you'll be getting there. So in this dimension, we didn't lose this outpost yet. But whatever. Alright, so like I said, next episode we're going to go and find out... Oh, okay, there's the copper. Next episode, modding, because I will add in a couple of mods that we require to properly expand our base, and proper expansion. So I'm so much looking forward to that. So check out the comment section if you have anything to add into this episode, because I gotta say, Biter warfare is not exactly my expertise. I often play on peaceful worlds, but yeah, I think it worked out quite decently, didn't it? So, thumbs up would be appreciated, consider subscribing, and check out the description box for the playlist link. You will also find my Discord server there, and also my Twitch channel, and of course, feel free to support Icon Gaming financially. It'd be my pleasure. And a big thanks to everybody who does so already, and why do I keep forgetting that gosh darn car? See you all next time. Bye bye.